Greetings, starseeds, lightworkers. This is Ava here, and today we're going to be talking with Pleiadian DiYeena of the Pleiadian Family and bringing her in to talk about timelines and can we alter our fate? Can we do we like what is our actual power here to move within timelines and shift within these timelines? And anything else you can say, because I know that this has been a hot topic lately of like what is happening here with time because it feels very fluid is maybe a good way to put it. So we're just going to dive right in, let her come through, and I'll put you in touch with the Pleiadians. Here we go. Greetings! This is DiYeena of the Pleiadian Family bringing the love, and we are here today to talk to you about timelines and what is within the free will to be hopping around in the different aspects of what you consider the time, you see. And so we'd like to slow it all down a little bit, first of all, and say that you are all the power. You are all the power. And you are all possibility. The essence of you is these things, you see. So we just like to start with that framework, that you are all powerful, that you are limitless in all the ways. Isn't that fascinating, you see? It is really something that we like to try to take just the third dimension of the mind and wrap it all up in that, when we are saying something much more vast than that and requires you to really open up and expand to all the other dimensions and parts of yourself, all your other multidimensionalities, to even begin to grasp what we are saying here, because you cannot fit it into the mind. It does not fit this way of relating with these words that we are speaking to you. So simply let it resonate in the heart, because the heart contains the seed of all creation. It contains the seed of light, of the entire frequency, the entire range of experience, of consciousness. So in that is where you can place understanding. And this is where we can begin to have a sense of what we are saying here. So if you can simply make the jump from the mind to the heart, as you are listening to DiYeena, this is going to help you greatly in your not feeling like your mind is being blown every time we talk, you see. You see, this is the way, you see. So if we can really just let the heart lead the way in our conversation, it is going to make it so that you can really begin to say, yes, yes. Maybe you do not understand the mind is really having a mind blow at the moment, but in the heart, feels something is right, and you're resonating, and that is where the more deeper layers of the what you would call the truth, even though we do not like to limit, because it is such a charged word for many of you, you see. So we don't like to talk about it quite like that, but it is really where it is the depth of your knowing, you see, when you really quiet it all down, you see. So when we are talking about the timelines, you have to understand that we are talking in a specific dimensionality. Usually it is really talking about the fractal of your soul having multiple experiences within certain realms of your experience that you would call time, you see. So you have these ideas that you heard are that time is so linear, and so you have these points along your timeline. You have 1,000 years ago where this happened, 2,000 years ago where that happened, and then the present moment, and then some of you have maybe had future things happen as well, but there is this whole relating of time, you see. But it's really more, if you had to create it in a form, it's just so hard to talk about this. It's so funny for us to really, it's a play, it's a game for us to really talk about time in the ways that you're, to bring the concepts of time, when it is so multidimensional, to the realm of 3 and 4 dimensions, you see, to begin to put it together, you see. It's so fun, you see. So we like to play it and see what we can the ways we can describe it that will begin to help, you see, in the process of consciousness expansion. It's really funny because you want it to fit in your world of the mind, you see, and we are working with you in that quest, you see, because we see that if you can have a little bit of peace in the mind, what it does is it allows an expansion in your being, usually in the heart, but it allows a resting place where there is more expansion available. And that is really the point, you see. It is not even about whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense, or you agree or disagree. You see, that is not even the point. It is really, how can we open the energy field, open the areas of being so that there is more availability for the higher dimensions. And so simply being in the heart space and allowing the information to come through without really attaching any kind of meaning or understanding in that limited way, we can begin to wrestle with that a little bit, but to really allow yourself to just be in the frequency and allow the pieces to settle where they may, you see. So when we're talking about the dimensionalities, you see, we're working within the dimensions, the lower dimensionalities of the concentrated forms, you see. And so you can have your existing. First, we're talking about levels of even the word you see. First of all, we have to understand that. So we are, there is the you that you would say is the one you see, the consciousness, the one mind, you see, the one heart. We like to say the one heart, like the great heart, you see. And some of you like to use the word God, and some of you like to use the word consciousness, and some of you have the other words. And so it is all good, you see. Use what is your word, because it is really about how it makes you feel in your body so that you're open. That is what the point is, you see. It's not about, is my way the right way, and do I feel the less threatened by this way if I put it in these terms, you see. Do what feels like it is an opening and an expansion in your body, and do not worry about what other people call it or if they agree with you, you see. This is one little tip. Okay, so getting back. In the world of the timelines, you are all powerful, and what you are experiencing is typically, we have these, what you would perceive as souls, right? So you have a soul, and in the body, you can have multiple fragments of different souls entering for one body to have a particular experience in time. So one body, we can use this body here called Ava, for example, may have several different soul fragments of different what you would call beings throughout what you would consider time. So you can have, for example, pieces of different beings that you would be familiar with. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I've had past life reading where I was Cleopatra, or whatever the famous person, right? Where, and this is not necessarily incorrect, you see. Why? How can so many people feel this way? So sometimes these more, we're getting a little off a tangent, but that's okay because it all connects, you see. Sometimes these more expanded characters in our world who have had a bigger imprint in humanity, in the expansion of consciousness, or a big moment in one of the dimensionalities, like maybe they really had a big role to play in the emotional dimension, you see. They maybe really cracked open a bunch of hearts, or they even made a lot of people angry, you see. But there was a big impact, you see. And same is true with the mind. All of the philosophers, for example, the artists, you see, the leaders, the rulers, who these people that have had positions of power and impact in a variety of ways, you see. A lot of these people, when they leave their physical form, what they do in a lot of these cases, not all, but they all have free will, so they choose what they like, you see. Some of them, what they do is they choose to fragment the soul into many, many pieces, so that there can be soul fragments that can begin to have many experiences on another timeline for the potential activation and awakening process, you see, to help in the process. So maybe they, and part of it can also be karma, rebalancing of karmas, you see. And so there are all these things that if you like bring them all apart, you see, and you play on time, you can be like, well, how can this be possible? You see, this is a very difficult conversation, because you're looking at linear time, and then you're also trying to elevate the awareness of what is true in terms of time, and then expand it to where there is actually no time, because we are merging it back into the one great heart. So we are working within all these layers, and within all these layers, if you were to look at it in a sphere, more spherical rather than linear, it is layer upon layer upon layer of experience, and what you would call more parallel timelines, you see. So it's not necessarily past life, present life, future life. What it is, more parallel experiences of dimensionalities and moments of fragments of soul choosing experience. And this is why we can have deja vus. And this is why we can say we know this person so well when we just meet, you see. A lot of times there are pieces of souls that are recognizing each other. And so it is not that we just have one soul in one body who has maybe had this very linear time, and maybe you have had 1 or 2 times where you remember a past life, for example, and you think that that happened oh so far ago, you see. This is a very linear way of looking at it, you see. So when we look at it more from the spherical way, what we are saying is that it is a little bit more of a pulse than that. It is more in the breath of the now. Always, you see. So what you're experiencing, this is why also you can have moments where you are feeling like almost like you're not even in your body and you're having this whole other experience. I know some of you light workers and starseeds are having these experiences now in this dimension where you are feeling all of a sudden out of the blue a very intense emotion, for example. And you're like, where did that come from? Or you're having a very intense interaction with a person that you maybe are familiar with or not so familiar with. Either way, you see, all of these things are reflections, potentially, of parallel experiences happening with the soul and the soul fragments, you see. And some souls do choose to come incarnate as more of a whole soul, you see. And this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, you see, because everyone has the free will. So there are people that choose to split a little bit and have certain experiences or have certain missions, and so they need to have a couple more extra bodies around, you see. It just depends, you see. There's a lot here to unpack, and we could go into each one of these topics forever, you see. So if you have a specific question on a little bit of what I'm bringing up, put it down in the comments. You see, what is this? I would like to know more about this because this piqued my curiosity, for example. Because we're just touching a little bit on all the areas to just widen the perspective a little bit and let you know that yes is the answer. Yes is the answer. Can you hop the timelines? Can you change your free will? Can you have the free will to change the fate? Yes, of course you do. Of course you had the free will to change. That is what a lot of you are doing all the time. You're saying, I would like to have this experience and do it differently this time, you see. And so you're always able to do this, you see. It just takes a little bit of refinement in consciousness to know the fuller picture so that you are not looking at it only through one tiny little fractal and saying, well, I did not like how this one went. Maybe we just go back and erase that and start again, you see. When you are not looking at all these other fractals of what is happening at the same time, that they're also playing out in subtle ways in this fractal, you see. So they're all connected. This is the piece that is a little bit like where you get into where some of you would say things like playing God a little bit. Well, this is not quite the right terminology because we don't really, this isn't quite right. It's just not the right way to think about it. But working against the laws of nature of what is, you see. Because if you're going to go and play with your free will to change an outcome, you must have explicit clarity on the impact of that change. You see, what is the intent and what will be the impact, you see, because there is so much happening in all the other realities, dimensions, parallel realities and worlds and other planets as well, you see. So just knowing that there is always more of a bigger picture, and the picture is infinite. You see, this is the piece that really is mind-blowing when you really get it, is that you are existing in so many dimensions across all time, in all ways. So it is really a lot. It is really a lot. So the best is to worry less about changing and moving with rearranging time, and more it is really tuning into what was my agreement. And what was the purpose of this? Because everything is purposeful, even if it seems like it was a mistake or it did not go the way we thought or planned. Really allow yourself to go underneath that experience, and really sit with the energies of it, the lessons, the layers of emotionality that come with it, that maybe we are wanting to experience and feel fully. the availability to feel the power of love in polarity, you see. So having an experience that feels opposite to love is allowing an even deeper experience of love in the bigger picture, you see. So this is why a lot of you come, is to have hardships and things that maybe do not make sense in the mind, but it is to have a larger container of love. So we'll leave you with that, you see. So it is a really big question. It is a really big topic, you see. So if there are specific pieces, again, put them in the comments below. Begin the conversation in your community and begin to talk about it, because we can go deeper in any area of this and really, really touch on more, you see. We are available for that. That is why we are here to help. And again, we can play in the world of the mind, but again, it is really about letting everything just sink into the heart. Take what you can. Leave what does not resonate, you see, or what is not making sense, because it is not all meant to be in only the dimension of the mind, you see. So if it does not sense in the mind, that is good. That is a good sign that you can allow yourself the expansion until you find the right frequency where there is resonance, you see, because some of these topics that we're talking about are very vast in dimensionality, you see. We're talking multi-digits of dimensions, you see. So 10, 11, 12, 13 and beyond, you see. So let it be like that. We'll go now and we'll say blessings and blessings and blessings. And the love. We'll bring the love, we send the love, and we say very good job to all of you humans for doing such good work here. We love you very much. Blessings. I trust this message was exactly what you needed to hear today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below for DiYeena. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Blessings.